Hi, David here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be talking about my May TBR pile. So this is going to be a set of books that I'm anticipating working towards getting through in the month of May. I've seen a lot of videos going up from a lot of other booktubers about this, so this seems to be about the right time to do all of that. And I've kind of put together a list of priorities based on some of the other things I've run across through BookTube and some of the read-alongs and the challenges and all those other fun things that are out there. Now, earlier this week, Jeremy Fee put out a video where he set his May TBR, and he mentioned that 8 was the right number feeling for him to have as a TBR for the month, and that sounded like a good challenge. 8 is a lot based on my current reading habits, but I'm hoping to accelerate those reading habits a little bit. So 8 might be a good challenge between being able to read physical books, reading some e-copies of books if necessary, and listening along to some audiobooks. Because I do have a commute every day to and from work, so I do get an opportunity to get in some of the audiobooks along the way. So I've got my list kind of settled in here. We're just going to kind of go through and talk about the different books that I'm going to be reading. I don't have any of the physical books with me. A, some of them I don't actually own yet. And B, all of my books, except for a small number, are currently in boxes because we will be moving in the middle of the month of May. So yes, 8 books on top of moving. Most of the packing, at least of the non-essentials, is done. But there will be the process of moving, unpacking, all of that fun stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting settled in, having a space for my books, getting them on display so that there's a nice background of books when I start doing these videos after we've moved. So one of the cool things that I came across just yesterday is May the Force Read With You, a readathon for May. I clicked into that thinking, okay, Star Wars. And yes, it's Star Wars for the themed pickings on how you're doing things. And so you're either light side or dark side, and there's a Venn diagram with the different things. So you've got a light side, dark side, and a neutral in the center with different categories that you're trying to read through. So your goal is to hit 5 books, either light side, dark side, and you can mix in any neutrals in lieu of something from your chosen side as needed. And then there's a page where you can also have a companion at the end after you complete those 5. So that's a total of 6 roughly that you will be trying to hit. And that seemed to pair really well along with the 8 idea that I had going on. So that leaves some flexibility for me to see how I can make these books fit into these parameters, as well as have other books in addition to that. So the first 3 books are all by the same author that I'm going to talk about. The first one is That Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis. This is me joining along with a space trilogy read-along. I jumped on it just about a week ago, had already read Out of the Silent Planet last year, pretty late in the year, so I didn't need to reread that to refresh on things, but I am almost done with Paralandra, which has been a phenomenal experience. I don't want to stop reading it once I pick it back up, so I'm at a point now where I probably will end up finishing the book as soon as I pick it back up. I'm reading that as an ebook on my phone through one of the library checkout apps, so I've been enjoying that. I would love to get a physical copy to go next to my copy of Out of the Silent Planet. So I'm going to be reading That Hideous Strength, book 3 of that trilogy. And so not only does that qualify for a readathon, but that also qualifies as Force Vision in the spectrum on the May the Force Be With You, or May the Force Read With You readathon. And so that is a book set in the past or future, so sci-fi, historical fiction. Next is Abolition of Man by C.S. Lewis. This is another one that kind of pairs with the same readathon, one of the participants kind of mentioned that that was a natural book to read between Paralandra and That Hideous Strength. It's a very short book. It's one that I haven't read yet from C.S. Lewis, and so it's one that I'm wanting to pick up anyway. And when I looked at the cover, it is a primarily white cover, so that fits with Cleansed, reading a book with a white cover. Then we have Mere Christianity, and this one just got added this morning because a booktuber mentioned that there was going to be a read-along for Mere Christianity coming up in May. It's another C.S. Lewis book. It's one that I've read a couple of times, but it's one that is always, always, always worth rereading. And so I'm going to be jumping in on that. Sounds like they're going to read each of the 4 sections of the book in each of the 4 weeks in May and have a little live chat about it each of those 4 Sundays. So that's something that I'm looking forward to being able to join along with. So that is the only category I put that in. That was kind of one of my free books that got put onto here. I didn't want to try to peg it into a category. And if I don't get around to reading that one, that probably won't be too devastating because I have reread it a couple of times, and I think one of those was pretty early last year. Next is Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, which is another readathon. This one, I believe, is an interstellar readathon. They have a Discord channel for it. I'm looking forward to joining in on that. This fits under my Jedi Council category for my light side prompt, which is a sequel or a book in a series. This is the first book in a pretty long sci-fi series. So I'm looking forward to diving in that. That also happens to be on my Reddit bingo square. So that is helping make sure that I'm making progress on roughly 2 books a month off of that bingo square. And speaking of that bingo square, my other book that comes off of that list is going to be The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This also has a readathon going on. Notice trend here. When I find one that's lining up with something that I was already intending to read, it's real easy to bump it in on there. It also fits in with healing on my prompt, which is read a book from your favorite genre. It's a fantasy book, kind of a militaristic fantasy, but it is fantasy nonetheless. Fantasy is my bread and butter genre, and this is the only fantasy book on my TBR for the month. So it was the one that had to fit into that spot. But it is also, again, on my bingo card. Next, we have the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. So this is an old book written back in the medieval times. I've got a nice big copy on my shelf. And today there was a book spin where there was a wheel with numbers 1 through 20 spun, and whatever number it lands on, you pick a book that aligns with that. I had shared on my Instagram account first thing this morning before watching the video a shelfie that I had taken about a month, maybe a month and a half ago of one of my shelves that I really haven't touched anything on, which was my kind of medieval history shelf. The number spun was a 1, so I have the tallest book on that shelf, which was the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle. This also I'm having fit under knowledge, which is read one of the oldest books on your shelf for TBR. I'm taking this in a literal way. This is the oldest book in terms of publication. It was written many, 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 many years ago. And then the last one for my Star Wars little list here is going to be a mystery book. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I'm turning to you, the readers, to help me decide what this book is going to be. I want it to be a Star Wars book because, well, May the 4th be with you. It's Star Wars month. And so there is a Star Wars themed read-along or readathon, basically for about a week span of time in May, where people are going to read either a Star Wars book or a sci-fi book or a book with Star or Wars in the title, if you don't like science fiction, and talk about it. So this is separate from the May the Force Read With You readathon. And so this is my chance to actually dive into some Star Wars books, which I read a couple when I was really young. These are now in like the Legends canon, so they're no longer official canon. I've listened to the audiobook of a couple from the current set of books, but in general, I haven't done much in the Star Wars fiction realm, so lay it on me. What book should I pick for this slot? This fills the Contract Kill, which is one of the companions, which is read a book recommended to you by someone else. Since I'm a new booktuber here, haven't had a lot of recommendations directly shot towards me, so this is my opportunity to get something out of hopefully somebody. In particular, I haven't read any of the Thrawn series. I haven't read... There's too many to mention. There's a lot, so let me know what one should I prioritize. And then the last book that is on here, because we had 7 up to this point, this has no category at all other than it is a buddy read with one of my good friends here on YouTube already, Margaret Pinard. We're going to be reading Richard II by William Shakespeare. I'm always down to read more Shakespeare. In my last video, I kind of gave a brief overview. She had a video for Shakespeare Day, for Shakespeare's birthday celebration, and at the end she had a little stack of ones that she hadn't read yet, wanted to know what she should read next. I said any of them, and so she chose Richard II, and I am joining along in reading that with her, so I'm looking forward to that. So those are the 8 books on my TBR. Be sure to let me know, leave a comment, tell me what Star Wars book I should read, or if you don't know anything about Star Wars books, if you know anything about the other 7 and want to offer some insight. A couple of these I have read, and they are rereads, Mere Christianity and Richard II. Everything else is going to be brand new to me this month. Let me know, and if you're looking at things that you're filling up into June, I'm clearly willing to jump in on read-alongs and have fun things to do with other booktubers. So let me know. Thank you for watching, and thank you.